Well, Sunday's earthquake was the largest to hit the Northern California Bay Area in a quarter of a century. It weighed 6.0 magnitude, more than 120 people to hospital, and caused severe damage to numerous businesses. Mark News now joining us live from Napa for the very latest. Mark.
Michelle, I'm here in the heart of downtown Napa, which is among the hardest areas hit. In total, the quake has resulted in more than 200 people being injured, many of them still recovering in hospital. One of the most severe was a 13-year-old boy who was hit by a falling fireplace, but the latest reports are that he suffered a fractured pelvis and not a broken spine, as earlier feared. The U.S. Geological Survey says nearly a million. I was one of those who was woken up in my bed shaking, the entire room shaking, and I'm about 70 miles away from there. While indeed a traumatic situation, much of the population feels that they're lucky that this did not turn out worse. They posed the biggest quake in decades. Linda Jordan runs this beauty store that suffered broken windows and structural damage. She's under pressure to get her students ready for state licensing tests without a place to teach.
You know, when you look at the monetary value compared to lives, it's nothing. It will take time, and yes, it's disastrous, but I'm lucky compared to most.
Jordan, like many people, actually feel lucky that the earthquake happened in the early hours of the morning when hardly anyone was around. In fact, right outside her store the day before, there was a blues festival where this street was packed from end to end. According to catastrophe modeler Equicat, damage estimates of insured losses could top $1 billion. Even many businesses that believe their stores are in good order have been red tagged unsafe due to badly hit neighbors.
Until these buildings are deemed okay, I'm sure they'll have to do a little bit more work, then I can open up. But from the looks of it, I probably won't be open up for a while.
Lucero Olive Oil lost 90% of its inventory. After a massive cleanup effort, it's now back in business.
Giant garbage cans, sweeping up glass and oil and vinegar. Keep cleaning up over the next few weeks as we go, or next few days, next week as we go, but we're back in business.
The owner of this boutique clothing store is comforted by her sister, who drove 5 hours to help clean up.
But everybody's pulling together to get things done with a positive attitude, and that's how it has to be.
That's exactly what we think.
Police are patrolling to make sure people stay clear of dangerous buildings. They say so far there's been no problems with looting. The quake happened on the West Fault, which is much smaller than and runs parallel to the San Andreas Fault, but officials are still warning people to be careful as there have been at least 65 aftershocks ranging from 0.3 magnitude to 3.6 in magnitude. Michelle.
Mark, do we have any idea what the full extent of the building damage in terms of dollar amount to the area is yet?
Well, estimates are now running at close to $1 billion. We'll find out more in the coming days, but buildings both old and new suffered extensive damage. Napa's courthouse and the historical library were two of the hardest hits. In all, about 50 buildings in the city of Napa alone have been red tagged as being too dangerous for use. Along with preliminary billion-dollar damage estimates, will be costly because most people simply don't have earthquake insurance. And as a final note, since we are close to tech-driven Silicon Valley, data is coming in very unusual ways. Jawbone, the maker of the Up activity tracking band, actually brought in data that they tracked of their users, and they produced data that says 93% of wearers within a 15-mile radius were woken up by the quake, and that 45% of them at 3:20 in the morning did not go to sleep again. So certainly a sleepless night here in the Napa Valley region. Michelle.
Sleepless night, and especially for those without earthquake insurance in California. Bad move. All right, Mark, thank you so much. Mark, live from Napa in California.